Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys are watching romantic comedies. I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin Doyle.
And I'm...
Sadly, Jon Sieber has passed away.
From the podcast
From
this
the
week.
podcast this week.
This week, he has passed away from the podcast.
Yeah. But
He'll be back.
We're going to get out those things. Next week, we're going to get out those...
Paddles? The shockers. The paddles.
They're not called paddles. They're called...
I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of what they are. It's not an EKG.
EKG.
It's not an EKG.
Oh.
The shocker paddles, I don't think so. I think an EKG is when they just hook you up to a heart monitor. Echocardiogram is what an EKG is.
Okay.
The paddles are called something different, I think. We'll check at the break because I don't have my phone on me.
Well, you know what? This is going to be...
If any doctors are listening to the podcast, aka Dr. Meg Daly, who's been on the podcast, you're probably screaming right now, and you can tell us.
It's called a paddle.
Yeah.
This will be interesting because John was the most anti my best friend's wedding.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer he's not here. We're gonna have to get his maybe we'll text him. Well, maybe not. Say we'll text him at the break and see if he's any less, but he won't be. But
is Julia Roberts still being a
Yeah, well, this movie it seems like it has a lot to do with John because he's the most anti Julia Roberts. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
he's anti Julia Roberts in this particular
movie. Sorry, he's not down with her character. But I guess like the last time we left, he was like, I don't like the way that this woman is, doing all this trickery to break up her best friend's wedding.
Yeah,
he was anti that.
But suspiciously, he has been texting me a lot of very angry texts about Mona Lisa's smile as well. Oh wow! So there's kind of a track record.
That is funny. Anytime I've been like, do you want pizza? He's like, as long as it's not Mystic pizza.
Fucking.
Yeah. He hates Julia Roberts.
Yeah. America's Sweetheart.
Oh, I was like,
she's America. She was for a minute, right?
Yeah, she was. When you said America's Sweetheart, Miss Congeniality popped into my mind. And for a second I got her and Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock was America's Sweetheart for a few minutes too.
Totally. Yeah.
And then
she might be again, if you've seen the movie, The Lost City, which I just watched.
Oh yeah. Now I think I don't know who America's Sweetheart is now. I feel like for
Timothy Chalamet. He's America's Sweetheart now.
It was Meg Ryan.
Yep.
Julia Roberts.
Yep.
Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Timothy Chalamet.
Was Oprah ever America's Sweetheart?
No.
Oprah was like America's godmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was Oprah's America's spiritual. She was America's librarian with the book club.
Yeah. I feel like she was America's chakra.
Yeah.
She was just she vibrated and gave America their spirit.
Whoa. Hey, this is Stedman here. I don't know what you're talking about vibrating. Hey, hold on. That's my girlfriend.
To be clear, we've never kissed.
Oh.
Hold on. I'm a paid actor.
Dude, Stedman.
Does Stedman have a mustache?
Yeah.
He seems like...
Has he ever talked? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he's talked. He's had to have talked.
I kind of just did Obama without the Obama thing.
Oh. Well, I tell you, Oprah. It kind of turns into almost like a Wilford Brimley or something.
Whoa, leave my wife's vibrations out of here.
Oh man.
I'm Stedman. So she was never America's Sweetheart. She was Stedman's sweetheart.
Yeah.
No, I guess if it was someone now, it'd be what? Blake Lively?
No, now it would be I was about to say it'd be Zendaya, but not really. Zendaya's not America's Sweetheart. No. She's America's like up and coming young actress. I don't know who would be America's Sweetheart right now.
We don't really have one anymore. We have YouTubers now.
We have YouTubers. We have the Kardashians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally. They're nobody's sweetheart. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we would have an America's Sweetheart. I mean, maybe for a second it was just the show This Is Us.
Yeah.
Like that was America's Sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's it's a different time.
Yeah. I do want to say this. We are doing rom-coms, but we're going to go back to do some Sex and the City rewatches at some point.
Okay.
And I'm just giving out a decree right here.
Yeah.
No, but we are going to go and do some Sex and the City rewatches. There's news in the Sex and the City world. For those of you who have not listened to this podcast before this, we have been and will at some point be again a Sex and the City and Just Like That podcast.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in that world that I'm only bringing that up to say this episode's about my best friend's wedding part 2. But at some point, the episodes will be about going back to the Sex and the City world, getting back to our roots.
It'll be like,
and we'll also do some Sarah Jessica Parker movies.
It should be like when we do that, it'll be like Back to Oz.
Yeah,
it'll be like whatever those sequels are.
Yeah,
there's just like they never do Wizard of Oz. They just try and figure out ways to do sequels.
Yeah,
and they're always. And I feel like the only one that worked is The Wiz and Wicked. I feel like those are the only two that.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw The Wiz. I think I saw the TV production of it. I would love it if one of the Back to Oz's was just them going back to the jail in Oz, the HBO show.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons is in that.
So is Maloney. Isn't Christopher Maloney in that too?
Oh yeah. Cool. Well, we should next time when we do it next week, we should do the update with the Sarah Jessica Parker interview. Mm-hmm. The Che Diaz cover, and then do a rewatch.
That'd be great.
And you know what? A few weeks ago, you recommended doing And Just Like That episodes again, and I'm not against that.
What's weird is like it hasn't been that long, but it was so visceral when everyone was watching it the first time. I would be interested to see what it would be like again. What is it? It's been 6 months now.
Yeah,
maybe. Not too soon for a rewatch.
I think what could be cool is maybe we do the watches with guests.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe we can just like prepare to launch into when they do the new one. Are they going to do just like, are they going to wait a few years, or are they just going to go into filming this summer and have them out in December again?
I feel like they're going to go into filming this summer. Maybe not have them out in December, but I could see them out. I mean, maybe that's that's the short amount of time they turned it around last time, summer and Christmas. Maybe they'll do that again. If not, I could see it being like, I don't know, like early next year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, the, in the meantime, if anybody wants to, we're watching Pretty Woman on the Patreon, also Clueless, and you
got mail.
Got mail?
Yeah, you've got mails on the Patreon as well.
And then and we're starting another movie soon. So if you ever want to watch a movie, just let us know.
Yep.
We got some suggestions out there, but let us know and we'll watch them and do some eps on them.
We got some left turn suggestions. Someone was like, watch the romantic comedy Midsommar, which like could be. It is a relationship movie.
Yeah.
So John hates horror movies, so he's happy about that. But like, yeah, we could watch. We'll definitely evaluate. We've gotten a lot of votes for Serendipity. Which Aiden Shaw is in.
He plays a clarinetist.
Yeah.
So with this right now, where Julie Roberts had this friend that's like, oh, if we're not married by this point, we'll get married.
Yep.
He is, hey, what's up? I'm engaged to this girl that I love, which is Cameron Diaz.
Yep.
And
that I just met and I'm having a whirlwind romance with.
Dermot Mulroney.
Dermot Mulroney just met Cameron Diaz recently. Her dad owns the Cubs. Is that what it is? Or
like high up at the Cubs.
High up at the Cubs. Yeah. But he's like, we're getting married in 4 days.
And he's a sports writer. And he's just like a really interesting form of handsome.
He's it's almost like a Mr. Big handsome, just like chiseled out of like
very masculine,
like square jaw. Like always has kind of a furrowed brow and a little bit of like crybaby curl in the front of his hair, but still really masculine. Yeah.
And a good actor. It's kind of weird because he never got into like art films, but I'm like, it seems like he could have taken a path similar to like Colin Farrell, and he didn't do that.
Yeah.
But then he also is a much better, no disrespect, except I'm going to disrespect you. He's a way better actor than like McDreamy.
Oh yeah.
Whatever that guy's name was.
Patrick Dempsey.
Like a better actor. Like Patrick Dempsey has like a cotton candy-ness to him that is like.
Yeah, he has a little bit more sparkle than Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like something about Dermot Mulroney is you're just like, it's the voice. He has a little, I think he has a cleft palate. Yeah.
Which same as, actually
same with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin, yeah, totally. Yeah.
And same with, I'm sorry, never mind. I was just going to say same with all those kids in the magazines.
Oh gosh. Smile Train?
Yeah, stop. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Honestly, those kids do have cleft palate.
I know, but
you know what? If
one of you one day could be Joaquin Phoenix or Dermot Mulroney.
Do you think?
But they look handsome. It looks great.
Since we've got the kids or the actors?
That's what I'm saying to the kids.
I will say,
I honestly feel bad, so I don't want to.
I know, and I'm trying and doing a terrible job of rescuing it, and I think there we go. That's probably the way out. That's probably the way out right there.
But yeah, he has like this crazy, there's something about him. We need to look at the rest of his career.
It's a rough, rugged attractiveness, and I feel like he could be in some sort of Western.
Yeah.
I feel like he could be in some sort of like 90s gangster movie. You know what's crazy is he seems like he could also have been in like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Who's the guy in Reservoir Dogs?
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of a Michael Madsen vibe too.
Have you seen Michael Madsen now?
No.
He has not aged well, but he's aged like almost naturally, that it seems like he's been himself the whole time.
Yeah.
In a way that he's like, yeah, I'm not Hollywood. I'm not trying to like look young and handsome. He's like bigger now. And he's just like, looks like he drinks and smokes hard.
What's funny is I am a total proponent of people aging how they should age.
Yeah.
And I think a great example of, I think someone that did was Carrie Fisher. I think Carrie Fisher just aged how she, she was like, I'm Princess Leia, but like, I'm Carrie Fisher. And I was going to be like Carrie Fisher, but then you were like, drinks and smokes hard. And I was like, I don't know. Not well,
maybe she did do that.
Well, yeah,
she wrote a whole show about it called Wishful Drinking on Broadway.
She did. That's right. Did you ever see that?
No, but I had to advertise for it once. I had to dress up like Princess Leia and pass out flyers in the street.
Are you serious? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It was horrible. But I heard the show is great. It's on HBO.
Oh, cool.
So you can watch Wishful Drinking.
Great.
The Carrie Fisher one-woman show. But let's go see what happens with these people next. And also, when we come back, I'll show you a picture of Dermot Mulroney and Michael Madsen.
Great. Can't wait. We are going to watch the second half of this. Katie, take it away.
Take it away.
My Best Friend's Wedding, directed by P.J. Hogan. Childhood friends Julianne Potter, played by Julia Roberts, and Michael O'Neill, played by Dermot Mulroney, had a deal to marry each other if they were still single by age 28. Now, 4 days before her 28th birthday, O'Neill announces he's marrying a gorgeous 20-year-old named Kimberly, played by Cameron Diaz. Realizing she's actually in love with him, Julianne vows to stop the wedding at all costs. However, when she is appointed maid of honor, things get even more complex. And now, back to the boys.
And we're back.
Wow.
My Best Friend's Espionage.
Do you remember the song at all?
I mean, yeah. I remember it from just like oldies.
The moment I
Wake up.
before I put on
My makeup.
Who sings it?
say a little
Before you. Dionne Warwick.
Oh, and they were talking about Dionne Warwick earlier in the movie.
Yeah. Well, in that scene. Because he's making up a completely random story.
Right. Totally.
What a banger.
Yeah. All right. All right. Second act. We watched. All right. So the breakdown is Julia Roberts, Jules, who is her character's name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, just call her Jules. It's way easier. So she...
And do you know the type of scientist that studies Dermot Mulroney?
No.
Dermatologist.
Do you know what kind studies Jules?
Jewel scientist.
Gemologist. I don't know if that's a real thing. Okay. So... okay. So we open up with her with the last thing we saw at the end of F1.
I was saving that for the past 45 minutes.
What did you say? I've already forgotten it.
Dermatologist.
Oh, there we go.
All right, do the thing.
Oh, you know who his favorite comedian is?
Who?
John Mulroney. I don't know.
You know, like a cleft lip. You know, like a rom-com.
All right. We're going to do the breakdown now. So the last thing we saw was she was doing, she tried to break them up with some sort of lie stuff at the dinner, and it backfired on her with them kind of falling back in love with each other. And Dermot Mulroney was going to storm out, and then he comes back and they laugh, and she's like, dang it. So she calls her friend George, freaks out to him, is like, George, I'm out of scheming plots. George flies to Chicago and surprises her. She's got a purple face mask on when he shows up. And then George is like, you got to tell him. You got to tell him that you love him.
Got to tell him you love him.
You got to tell him you love him. That was a different British.
You've got to tell him you love him.
Wait, but you're in the Beatles.
Well, that's why I wrote the song. What? Octopus's Garden? Yes.
Wait, but you're the drummer. Okay, hang on. So she says you got to tell him you love him. And then she goes to his suit fitting the next day. She bumbles through it, and right when she gets up to it, we find out that she told him her and George were engaged. And he's like, "Whoa, really?" Then they all get in a cab, and Dermot Mulroney kind of stumbling over his words, and then he basically is like, "I thought you told me George was gay." And they come with this other lie where George is like, she's like, "Well, he thinks it's funny to pretend he's gay," and Dermot Mulroney
why would
you do that? And then George meets her family. They're all super excited for Jules. And then they go to a big lunch. They ask George to stay. He cancels his flight. He stays for lunch. He charms the family with all these fake stories of their engagement. And then they do the big sing along of Say a Little Prayer for You.
Yeah. Because they're like, how'd you guys meet?
Right. And they start talking about that. They tell a story about Dionne Warwick. And then they have this big sing along, which must have been like a massive moment when this movie came out. And then after that, she, tells George again, I don't know what's going on. And George just says, you need to go to her, or you need to go to him, tell him you love him, and kiss him goodbye, because that's what you came here to do. George basically says your relationship with him is over. So then she comes clean to Michael, but not about her love, just about how she says, my relationship with George is over. We're not engaged. And then Dermot / Michael is really, really shaken up, and he's like, why don't we spend some time together, just me and you? And they take this very romantic boat ride down the Chicago River. It's called the Chicago River, right? They dye it green at St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So they go down the river.
He hops on a little lily pad. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm Dermot the Frog.
And then they take this boat ride. They have a real, a lot of tension of will they, won't they? And then he talks about how he doesn't know if he says, I love you enough with Cameron Diaz. And then he is like, sometimes you say you're going to say you love someone, and then you maybe miss your moment. And then there's this pregnant pause between them where you were like, maybe something's going to fall on his head, maybe something. And then nothing happened. He just missed his moment. He didn't tell her he loved her. And then they dance together. And he sings The Way You Look Tonight.
Just the way you look.
Yep.
Tonight.
A lot of music in this movie.
Yeah.
And then after that, she goes to Cameron Diaz's father's office. and she drafts an email. One more scheme. She drafts an email to have from Cameron Diaz's dad, the future father-in-law, to Michael's job, Dermot Mulroney's job, to say, my daughter would like to have him fired. And I'm asking you if you'll do this as a favor. And then she saves it in drafts. Really weird, stupid move. And then when she's like begging Dermot Mulroney later, she's like, oh no, the office is locked. I got to get back in to do something. She's got to delete the email. And he's like, what do you have to do? And then he gets a fax from his company that they're like, we just got an email from your future father-in-law to let you go. And then he's like, what? And so he calls Cameron Diaz to say, what's up with this nonsense? And that's where we left off. So a lot of high tension.
Someday. Did you ever have a song with a girl? When you're all feeling low.
I don't think so. I've made, back in the day, I made mixtapes.
Yeah.
And then I made CDs and I've made playlists for people more regularly. But I don't think I ever had a song. Did you ever have a song with a girl?
Yeah, there was this girl that I was like pretty madly in love with. And our song was, I'm going to tear up, but our song was, wake up, makeup, skip it.
That's
You want to do? System of a Down. She was, no.
She was into systems.
I've made a playlist, but you know what? I sent
Actually, I did lie. I had one song with a girl.
you want to do?
I'm a scat man.
My first wife, Cheryl, she was hit by a bus at our wedding. She was hit by a bus.
Oh, anytime we'd play that, she would cry and we would dance.
It was amazing.
No, I mean, I did a pretty great breakup playlist
That you gave to someone?
Yeah, when we broke up.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good.
Well, how does that happen? What happens there? What do you do when you do a breakup playlist for
Oh man. Well, it was kind of thrust upon us in a way.
the breakup was?
Yeah.
What
You know who it is.
Oh, okay.
She moved. So we like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But so we were sort of like, this isn't really going to work out, but
Oh, that's
yeah.
sweet.
And that was nice. But I look at it now and I was like, man, that was pretty fucking sad.
What do you mind sharing one or two of the songs on it?
Let's see. Peter Gabriel's Secret World.
I don't know if I ever heard that.
Oh
one.
man, it's really good.
Maybe I remember it.
It's really good. It's kind of like about building a little secret world of your love.
Oh,
Laura Marling. Do you know Laura Marling?
I went to dinner with Laura Marling one time.
What?
Yeah. A good friend of mine is friends with was friends with this British actress, who her friend Caroline, who you've probably seen, huh? We're on video.
That's why no one can see.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's just a funny, constant theme that it's like that mouthing and hand motions don't work anymore because we put these things on the internet.
You guys can imagine what was going on before we had video. Just so many jerk off motions while someone would make a serious point.
So much. Yeah.
Which we can still do. So go ahead. You met Laura Marling.
Yeah. And a friend of a friend was friends with her. They were all British.
Oh man.
And it's funny because it was at the Bowery Hotel 10 years ago, and they were just like, oh yeah, our friend's in town, she's playing some shows, and I was like, who is she? And I had no idea.
Did you go to the shows?
No, I had no idea who she was.
She's the greatest living.
She's amazing
female songwriter.
Yeah.
And I separate that because she writes from the perspective of female in a way that is so it just makes you same with Joni Mitchell, that it's Bob Dylan could never write these songs because he's a guy. He doesn't think.
Yeah, totally.
And she has a song called The End of the Affair. That's really good. Her albums are amazing.
Yeah.
And rumor has it there's a very famous British singer who's still in love with her, but she broke up with him. and he's in Mumford and Sons, and his last name is Marcus Mumford.
Wow.
That's what I heard. That's like internet rumor stuff.
Interesting.
But yeah, we had like a nice thing. I'm trying to think of.
Man, that's really, that makes sense because you were saying, it was something that was thrust upon you. I was thinking you were saying we chose like someone broke up with someone else. And then, you were like, it's a closure thing. I guess it is kind of a closure thing.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. She made one for me too.
That seems healthy.
Yeah. And it was good. But I think like, I will say this whole movie in general, it's very impressive. Like how much they use music. Cause so far they've used it for karaoke, the song, and then Dermot Mulroney singing someday when you're off the low, is that Gershwin? And I'm thinking of you and the way you look tonight. I think it's Gershwin, but it's like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge freaking song.
Yeah, totally.
Is it George Gershwin?
It's performed by Fred Astaire, composed by
Jerome
Kern.
Kern, classic. But yeah, it's like when you have just the way you look tonight in a scene, you're swinging for like Casablanca level.
Yeah.
Romance.
Totally.
You're big. That's like big screen. Like you're on a boat singing to a girl. Like this is not TV. This is Hollywood.
Yeah.
On the biggest level in an amazing way that I feel like
totally.
I just saw Top Gun in the same way that it's like, man, this is not ironic action. It's just like action. A lot of stuff now, I feel like swinging for the romantic fences is like risky. And that's like what that was.
Yeah. You mentioned something. Okay, so the place we're at in the movie is,
if you got a song, send us the song.
Send us your song, breakup or song that you had with a lover, or that you currently have with a lover.
Yeah. Most romantic, best romantic songs, and best breakup songs. We want to hear them all. We'll make a big playlist.
Totally. I was going to ask a question. I'm looking for it right here. Okay. So, they're on, she's pulling hijinks. She's pulling it all out. She's very nervous. And then you mentioned two things. The first thing you mentioned is you were like, what's the chemistry they have? It doesn't seem like it's really happened, which I was thinking, I feel like the whole movie is sort of predicated upon saying, we know they just have this long history of loving each other, or not loving each other, of being best friends. Like that's how it opens. So yeah, I guess we're just supposed to trust that, because it all pretty much seems like he seems kind of like broody, you know, but you don't, it's weird. Like on that boat ride, there is this like twinges of romance, but you don't fully get that they're totally into each other. I see what you're saying.
Well, I guess the interesting thing, she has the friend, as the audience, we're like, geez, what's up with this girl? And then at least the friend is like, what you're doing is wrong. What are you doing?
George.
Because he even says to her, he's like, do you love him?
Yeah.
Or do you just miss his attention?
Yeah.
So, and that's like what, as the audience, we're thinking. So it's like, okay, at least they know that. But so I guess now by the time I thought she like learned her lesson. I still don't know if they'll end up together. I think they will, because I can't imagine it. There's not another person that she could end up with.
Right.
And based on how Hollywood is, she couldn't end up single, an old maid at 27.
No, not at all.
But I wonder how much Cameron Diaz's heart will be broken.
Yeah.
And I think not based on reality, but based on the movie, it's going to be a thing of like, you need to be together. Like, I'll always love you, but you need to be.
I think that's absolutely what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Totally. Because I can see this and it's inevitable, and like, I love you, so you should both be together.
But there's this thing that it's like that. Why? Okay. I feel like Jon is like extra trusting and very comfortable. I think I don't think I get that jealous in relationships, or like I can express myself, but my boundary would be like, yeah, you should definitely have this person at the wedding. But if I was like watching that, I'd be like, why are you singing and fucking dancing the day before we get married? And then Julia Roberts says, he's like, this is the end of like an era. And she's like, except for the affair we have twice a year for the rest of. And then it's like
that line.
It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, totally.
And I guess the movie is what they're doing. They're making a movie where we're like mad and we're like, what the hell? Like, but you're like, why could you say that, but not just like, well, I don't know. I'll turn it around to myself. I guess it is hard to say I love you to someone and it'd be easier to make a joke, but there was sort of like, why is I love you so hard? But like, hey, we're going to fuck. And he's like, or would he be like, what? Like that reminds me real quick of the line that she said about George when she's like flustering to be like, he's my fiance now. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, yeah. No, I told him to come in town. He's like, why? For work? No, he flew in to fuck me. Yeah. And everyone's like, what? We're like, what? And then he kind of gets into it when he goes to the church and he's like, just for a quickie there, sir, and like taps her on the butt. And she's like, all right.
Dude, I love George. George is a solid character.
George is awesome. You know what? There's been so much like the past few years of like bad, poorly written characters of being like, what, the gay best friend?
Totally.
Rising above gay best friend stock character. He's a stock character, but fully formed.
Yeah. You see him like fully formed, not just one giant trope.
Yeah. Not one giant
trope. They go into a little bit of trope with like him, the Dionne Warwick song, but even that's played out really well.
It's played up really well because he's like, I guess like a lot of gay best friend characters are just like, yes, go get it. And be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And this guy is more just like fucking with her because she deserves it and be like, you're not even going to do that? No, like you're going to pay for this. Like, there's something that it's like you want a George in your life.
Yes.
No matter the sexuality.
I almost wonder if because he's British, if it makes it different. Because I think sometimes, like I would imagine a gay best friend character now being written, it's almost like they would write it like one of the guys on Queer Eye, and they would have like George. To me, like if her best friend was like Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye. Yeah. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way that Jonathan Van Ness would be like, I thought he was gay. And it was like, well, he likes to play gay. And it was like, John Van Ness is like, he's definitely a completely different type than George.
That would have been a great line. I'm sure they like had to cut it. It's like, oh, I thought he was gay. No, I'm just British.
But like, I think that there's something where it doesn't, like, you're like, no, he's definitely gay, but like they play it in a way where it's like, oh, maybe if you didn't know what was going on, you could be like, oh, I'm pretty sure you said he was, but okay, maybe he's not. Yeah. Whereas I feel like if it was written now, it would be much more broad, and it would be her friend that was more. There would be more stereotypical tropes. And as the gay best friend, his job would be to be like, not that dress, sister.
Yeah.
And like things where it would be, I could still see it trying to be played off, but I guess what I'm saying is like, I feel like this is a detriment to maybe some Hollywood writing or a criticism of some Hollywood writing, is that they would try to write it so much more tropey that it wouldn't play as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess George being the gay best friend in this is like, he's actually just the best friend who happens to be gay. And
totally.
And it's not the only thing about him.
Right.
Although he is fitting into that stock character. Totally. And then of course, like it's just, also Rupert Everett just talked about, what did he talk about? I'm pretty sure he just talked about a character.
Brexit.
He just talked about Brexit. He said, "Is Boris Johnson having a party?
Are we just having a laugh with the EU?
Having a laugh?" No, he just said something about some gay casting that was.
Is he gay in real life?
Yeah, he is, and he said Rupert Everett. Let's see. he just said, man, he's aged pretty well too. Pretty handsome motherfucker.
He's an incredibly handsome.
He is good looking. He was frustrated that Colin Firth was in a single man. That role really should have been mine. Rupert Everett speaking out because Rupert Everett's gay.
Because Colin Firth is not gay.
It's quite frustrating. I was frustrated. I remember going to see Colin Firth in the film by Tom Ford, Single Man. I thought, well, thanks, Colin. That's the end of my career because that role should have been mine. So, it's frustration about that, of course. Wow, interesting.
Wow, there's this article in The Guardian, Rupert Everett. I'd have done anything to be a Hollywood star.
Well, that...
As he takes on Chekhov, speaks about stardom, midlife crises, and penis padding.
What?
It's an article in The Guardian.
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of all Chekhov plays.
You got to pad your penis?
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, he's doing good stuff. Very good work.
Yeah. Seems like it's a solid British actor.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. So, okay. So we had the whole thing of like, we're supposed to know that they had a backstory where they're in love. And I think we're in the sort of, will they, won't they, what's she going to do kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I guess they're pressing the audience to, it seems like right now I found myself being like, all right, I like them. I don't like their behavior, but there is something that it's like, okay, I don't like it, but just a little bit of that time together, I'm like, okay, you guys got me a little bit in, but that might just be from finally not having Cameron Diaz around and getting sucked into like that little romantic moment.
Yeah.
And then forgetting that it's like they have all these social obligations and responsibilities to other people that'll be hard to let down. Who's going to pay for that? It's going to land on Cameron.
Oh yeah. Cameron's going to pay for it. Totally.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah, totally. And she's going to take it hard because she is an emotional character in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think about breaking up a wedding?
Oh,
where do you stand on either, not just breaking up a wedding, breaking up an engagement? What do you think about that?
Well, I think about it very financially. There's fees to be paid.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's
let me preface it with this. And I'm not just asking you because of things we talked about on the pod before or like personal history.
Yeah.
I don't mean breaking an engagement. I mean, what do you think about breaking up an engagement as a person saying, I'm in love with you, don't marry that other person? What Julia Roberts is trying to do. What do you think about that?
100% okay with it.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Because
I'm not surprised at all that you would say that.
Well, I mean, if like it's up to the person.
Sure.
I mean, there's a cost to that. I don't think that there should, you know what I mean? Like,
let me preface it by saying, what do you think about breaking up an engagement by forging an email from the future father-in-law getting you fired from your job?
I'm all about honesty.
Oh, see, I'm all about that. I think if you're going to do it, go big. Go big.
No, I mean, I think what she's doing, I guess, is like she's avoiding confronting the truth because she's probably scared of it being the end. So she's like trying to extend. She's trying to not be responsible for it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what George said that was so good. Not Colin Firth, Rupert Everett's character.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? You quoted it back to me when I asked you.
Oh, he said something like, go tell him the truth and then kiss him goodbye because that's what you came here to do.
Exactly. Like that right there is a great fucking line.
That is, but he's telling her, get your feelings out, then let go of this.
Yeah.
He's not saying, he's not saying get what's yours or it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
That's two different things, I think.
But that's where I think why he's a good friend and what I would be okay with it. It's like, if she just said on the boat,
yeah,
I love you, he could say, thank you. Now that I have that information, I can do with my life what I'd like to. And the truth is out there because you know what? There's lots of people in love with lots of people. And I do think people obviously think of marriage and weddings as different than they did 100 years ago. And I get it. Some people are like, it's just a piece of paper, or it's just this, but it's like, if you really break it down to what it is without any society, without any obligation, it's like two people giving their lives to one another for a new thing.
Yeah.
And I think really, if you take family pressure away, I think in so many of these stories, it's like, even My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's like, your family doesn't matter. This relationship matters.
Right.
They do matter, but any story about a relationship has to do with like, if there's something true there, that you have to like not do something stupid. Everybody wants these different things because they want to protect one another, but take the risk, do the thing, and like, hopefully the right people come on board. So I'm totally okay with people getting to that truth and then making the decision for what they want to do with their life. And so I think as a friend, he's right that he's like, he's giving that good advice. That's like, this is for you. It's not for him. He doesn't want to be with you. And he probably said that after meeting the family and being like, yeah, Jules, like, you're fucking nuts.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
So I am okay with breaking up weddings. I mean, I think if you stood up at the wedding, and said like, I object, it's like, you know, like maybe you could have included that in the RSVP. Like, you brought a +1 to
totally.
Like you are not invited to the reception.
No.
Or if you are, no open bar.
Yeah.
You're too reckless. You can have the food.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That it's like,
no, it actually does make sense. It does. I mean, I think I was thinking that you were going to say, look, and maybe you are saying this, but you know, you're like, I'm all on the side for basically there's a clock running out and just, you have the right to say what you want to say before that clock runs out.
Yeah.
The clock running out being someone locks it down and says, I do.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to say that, but I guess you're saying more, I think you're saying it's better to get out what you want to get out and then let other people deal with that truth.
Yeah. And I think that the consequences of, like, if we go more morally, I'd be like, her saying that on the boat, a lot of people are going to have some like problems with it. And would be like, man, that was fucked up. And like, I don't know, I could imagine Cameron Diaz would be okay to be like, see pictures of her and be like, she's a bitch. Watch out for her. I'm not a huge fan.
Like dancing on the boat with her.
Yeah. Or if she just like said, I love you then, and then she found out the next day, like they broke it off. Like, it's okay to have negative feelings. Yeah. But we all know those people that it's like, you know, they're with someone for 5 years and then it's like, you realize that like Brian just like left Stephanie a month after 5 years and married to Hillary now. These are made up names.
Yeah.
Married to Hillary now, and they have 2 kids. And it's like, well, those are their lives.
Yeah. I mean,
and they should now, if Julia did what she did and like 3 months in, flew to Chicago and was like, I love you. It's like, then I'd be like, yeah, you need to shut the fuck up. And
3 months in after the wedding.
Yeah. Then it's like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Once it's locked down,
it's over.
Yeah. Which I think some people I bet there's people out there that are like, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
But I do think that like, yeah, after it's locked down, like after the wedding has happened, there is a statute of limitations.
Yeah.
I mean, someone is legally bound to someone else. Yeah, I guess in this situation too, she found out 4 days ago, she's acting out of her heart. We haven't talked about all the crazy things she's doing yet, which I want to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I think that there is a thing where it's like, speak now or forever hold your peace, but not at the objection point.
Yeah.
Just in life, just to be like, you know what, you're going to feel better if you say it. Well, but probably get it out as soon as you can. Isn't
that the fact that it is in a traditional wedding? I don't know if it's American or what tradition that's in, but speak now. If there's anyone that thinks they shouldn't be married, speak now forever. The fact that that's built into the ceremony shows that it's not a random.
I want to see where that comes from.
because that is for like the greater family and for the unit to protect the relationship, to protect the unit going forward. So let's see where it comes from.
Well, this is on brides.com.
Okay.
Which begs the question.
They said they started it. Wow. Just after 9/11.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Really? Jeez. Why did that come in? It's rooted in Christianity and European custom. The complete wording, should anyone present know of any reason that this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now, forever hold your peace, comes from marriage liturgy section of the Book of Common Prayer.
Wow.
First published in 1549, the Book of Common Prayer provides guidelines. Yeah, it's an Anglican church book. So yeah, it's in the Book of Common Prayer.
I feel like this script, like how Pretty Woman was called $3,000. This like working title of the script could be like Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace.
Absolutely.
It's like an entire movie about that.
Yeah, totally.
That's when she's going to do it. Holy shit.
Do you think so?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, that's just The Graduate.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at The Graduate, he runs up in the ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does it at the moment, but he runs up into
He's like, my name's Dustin Hoffman. I just fucked your mom. No heels to you. Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. Wait, hold on. It says in the medieval age, it was very hard to get the word out that someone was getting married. There were no computers, no cell phones. There was a tradition in most churches to announce upcoming marriage starting 3 consecutive Sundays before the wedding was to take place, known as bonds or bonds of marriage. These proclamations, typically read aloud by a priest and published in the parish bulletin, were sort of a formal heads up that a wedding is happening. The last chance for objections would be on wedding day during the Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace portion of the ceremony.
All right, for those of you that haven't been at church for the past 3 weeks,
first of all,
Cheryl,
we missed your tithes.
Yeah, and so yeah, she's getting married to the fucking the blacksmith.
This is interesting though. Why would anyone do this? It most often came down to law, not a last chance at true love. If someone knew a member of the couple to be already married, underage,
nice,
unbaptized, we can't just let that go, unbaptized with church law, or forcefully coerced into the union,
okay,
it was considered their duty to object. The same is true if they knew the couple was too closely related by blood. My sister's wedding. My best sister's wedding.
My best sister's wedding.
These days is issues.
That means that there were some places where it's like, hold on, she's not baptized. And they're like, oh my word.
And then someone hits her with a water balloon. And they're like, she is now.
But I bet there are some places where they're like, hey, she's 14. And they're like, it's all right. She's baptized.
Oh, back then,
yeah,
like she's 14, and it would be like that. Yeah, well, she's only going to live for 4 more years.
Yeah,
because it's the 1500s. He's 12. Wait, this is interesting though. It says these days these issues are sorted out long before when people go get a marriage license, and that's true. Like,
yeah,
was it Katie and John that were saying the Kentucky marriage license? There was something about
it's fine if you're cousins.
Either that or no, I think it was like,
I think you get a tax break in Kentucky if you're cousins.
I think that's what it is.
You don't have to pay state taxes.
No, I think that they phone a cousin and say, would you rather marry this cousin when you're signing that? They're like, it's still, that's the Speak Now. They're like,
yeah,
Speak Now, forever hold peace. Do you want us to call your cousin?
Come on.
That John, that's what you get when you don't.
And for those of you that are like, oh, that's offensive. Like you're making fun of people from Kentucky. I masturbated to my cousin growing up. Okay.
Good God.
Good God. Great Scott.
I just want to make it clear that in the past 2 minutes, when I said underage, you went, nice. And then you just said that. John, please come back. Please come back.
I have a joke about it in my last stand-up special.
That's the grade of your performance on this episode. Okay. Other question. This goes to Julia Roberts' likability in general. The thing she's doing are insane.
Not good.
Like imagine any one of our good friends. If you heard someone that you trust and respect, if you heard they were doing this, wouldn't you be like, what's wrong? Are you having an episode?
Yeah.
Like everything she's doing, I mean, and here's the thing. We say this all the time. It makes for good, like,
Yeah.
good story.
She reminds me a lot of Sarah Jessica Parker or
like
Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's actually true. Yeah,
even down to the curls, like she has total like Carrie season 1 hair.
Yeah.
And this is 1997.
I wonder who's
but it's
taller.
like, even when she like falls over and is like, whoa,
Yeah.
like when she's sending the email,
Yeah.
it's very Carrie. Very Carrie. It's set in Chicago.
You're
I'm trying to think of a Harry Carrie Bradshaw character. But it's one of those things about Carrie Bradshaw that makes her so likable and hateable and controversial.
Yeah.
Is like Carrie does these horrible things like cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, this is like the most Carrie Bradshaw character I've seen in a movie. Now that I think about it, that you're just like, what the fuck are you doing?
And it's played up with like this sort of like, yeah, I mean, you're right. Actually, it's played up with kind of this like likability and sort of goofiness.
Yeah.
I feel like Julia Roberts is a little more, I feel like Julia Roberts is not mean-spirited, but she's like, Carrie kind of gets by on being narcissistic and a little aloof. I think Julia Roberts is like especially cunning.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Just like, I have to fly my friend in because I've run out of tricks.
Do you know, have you ever heard of the term puckish?
Maybe.
Puckish.
Does it come from Midsummer Night's Dream? Yeah.
And it's,
Does it come from Puck from the Real World San Francisco, the bike messenger who picked his scabs all the time?
Yeah. Season 1, right?
You're puckish. You're disgusting. No, season 3, I think.
Puckish, playful, especially in a mischievous way.
Okay.
So I guess this is not in order to be, but it's like devilish, leprechaunish, knavish,
leprechaun,
mischievous. And it's like all the stuff that she's doing is like very, it's similar to Tom Hanks and You've Got Mail too.
That's true.
That it's like you're pulling these strings that you shouldn't be pulling. And in Midsummer Night's Dream, Puck is kind of just doing it for fun, but it's sort of like Puck is a fairy who's doing it just to like fuck with humans.
Yeah.
But there's like she's doing these things that it's like these are not cool things. They're like a little more twisted, especially when she had the opportunity to just come out with the truth, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is like fuck this dude's career up."
Yes. Who I love, who's my best friend and who I want to be my husband.
Yeah. Like that's a thing that I'm like, you're not even looking out for. So it's like, what are you doing if you're not even, you're doing that?
That's when it is very selfish.
Yeah.
And then I feel like what's going to happen if they get together, she's going to be like, "Jules, you're crazy. You ruined my career. You made my fiance mad, and that. That's why I love you, Jules. That's why I love you, Jules."
And then the credits roll and everyone's crying. And then a bit later, you're like, "What? That's fucked up."
Like, that's terrible. Those people have horrible codependency issues.
That's one of the things with like, we do this with John. We do this so much with Sex and the City, but it's like applying any sense of morality to any movie or TV show is such a waste of time, because it's like, yeah, you should never learn any lesson from any TV show or movie.
No, not at all.
Like,
yeah, if anything, probably the most realistic like movie that you could take a lesson from is Blue Valentine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd just be like, some relationships will rip your heart out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of like, and now I guess the good part about this is if you were in the theater, you would just be like yelling at the theater, be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely,
You love him.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good rom-com. I want to find, as we go through this journey, I would love to find one of the most realistic rom-coms. I bet a lot of people will say 500 Days of Summer, but I refuse to accept that.
Yeah, the movie's not. We'll watch it for sure, but it's like pretty like lame-ish. I think it's very twee. It feels like
it's very of a time.
Yeah,
it's very of a like early to mid 2000s.
Yeah,
Garden State times.
Yeah, I think I would love to find that too. I mean, kind of. It's not a com, but you've never seen Casablanca?
Actually, never seen Casablanca. I know,
dude. It is so good. It's just like wild how good it is that it's always on the list of like greatest film of all time. And then you watch it, you're just like, damn, that was good job. That was a really good movie.
That's like after I saw Citizen Kane for the first time and I was like, yeah, it really holds up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great film.
You're like, I didn't hear anybody pushing against it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, but Casablanca has one of the it has a realistic ending in a way that is like so romantic and beautiful and sad and all beautiful. You know, it's like, it's definitely, and they didn't know the ending as they were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like they didn't know it until like halfway into shooting.
Wow.
But there's like, that's why you kind of know, even with You've Got Mail, we thought this, that it's like, oh, like you can feel that Hollywood ending that people force on top, and then you break down later and you're like, what? There should have been more of a reckoning or whatever. And we'll see what happens with this. But I wonder what rom-com has the best one of those.
Yeah. How many horrible student films or just horrible original films during production were justified by someone being like, no, listen, you know that when they're making Casablanca, they didn't know the ending. Like, come on, we can do this.
Yeah. What if it's the same ending as Casablanca and they, got to fight the Nazis?
Yeah. That's what it is.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
In 1997.
Totally.
There's probably a few.
In Chicago in 97? Yeah. I'm sure there were.
But yeah, well, I'm excited to see how this wraps up because I got to be honest, I want to know if it's in that moment of the wedding, and I just don't know how it's going to work out. And I don't know how I'll feel if I'm like, this is good or bad for them.
Yeah. If you're watching along with us, the visual thing we ended on was Dermot Mulroney is like, I got to call Kimmy, give me some space. And then Julia Roberts just collapses to the floor in the hotel room afterward, realizing what she's done.
Yeah.
That's where
she's got him fired.
She's got him fired from Sport Magazine.
We haven't got a new review on iTunes since we've been doing the movie thing. So please review us on there. If you give us 5 stars, tell us what movie you want us to do next. Go sign up for our Patreon. Go sign up for our YouTube. And if you want to watch these videos, they're pretty fun. And our Patreon is $5 a month. And we're currently doing Pretty Woman. Our Pretty Woman is up. We're probably on to the next one.
Yeah, Pretty Woman is up.
Yeah. So, and we've also done Clueless and other movies, and we'll be always doing extra movies over there. So, thank you, taters.
Goodbye, taters.
Wow, 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 wow.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Kevin James Doyle, and Jon Sieber. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Balon, and narrated by Katie Sieber. This podcast is part of the Seltzer Kings Network. Check out all their great podcasts at seltzerkings.com. You can find the boys on their socials at The Bradshaw Boys or on their website at thebradshawboys.com. And as always, if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.